a book I did was Art is Work, and the idea is to integrate art into everybody's daily life and to not separate it into a separate category of experience. My perception is that art manifests in so many different ways outside of the official designation of what art is, that you have to be conscious that sometimes in short order, a cook slicing a sandwich is artful and will give you a moment of understanding that you couldn't have had otherwise. My interest has always been seeing how many other things you could sort of bring into the network of design besides typography and layout, to consider it a more serious activity than simply basically arrangements of objects on a page. I'm a curious man, and I like to read, and I also think that everything's connected, so that if you learn how the brain works, then you know more about how to communicate clearly, and if you learn a little bit about anthropology, then you understand the history of imagery and so on. There's nothing that is unrelated to the profession of design if you think of it holistically or from a broad point of view. Art does create, and sometimes design does too, create a community of belief or commonality, so that people, for instance, if you like Mozart and I like Mozart, we already have something in common. And to some degree, art and design share that capacity, that they can bring people together in some kind of common affection, so that they are less likely to kill one another. Best windows in a general sense for me are those that admit the most light. On the other hand, every once in a while, there's an opportunity to have a focal point in the room. This is a decorative intention, right? And also the way people like to move furniture around, because they like to have a shift of experience because the spaces are changed. I think people would enjoy the idea that they have some control over the light source. So the first thing I thought of was basically the idea of color transparency, overlapping, and change. But that was early in my consciousness as an idea. Until I came to an idea of doing 3 windows that might change in response to a half window that opened and closed. And the idea is that this is sort of the 4 seasons, that this is spring and summer, representing the tree fully foliaged out. And when you open it, the tree is bare as in winter and the leaves are flying like in autumn. So I thought it was a nice metaphor for the 4 seasons and easily controllable by the user. I think the idea of inspiration is how do you deflect all the things that are inspirational in the world, because there's so many of them you can hardly breathe. The way light falls on the edge of a shelf is inspirational. I don't know what people mean when they say what inspires you. I mean, to be human means that you are susceptible to the world.